I am originally Congolese, African, so right in the middle, right in the center of Africa. But I was raised in New Zealand, and well, I now live in Australia. And I feel like I've traveled so much that like lots of different parts have helped create my cultural heritage. So I can't always just pin it to one thing, but like if I had to affiliate, I'm African. So I got to New Zealand when I was 9 years old. And it was interesting because we were like one of the first few African families to get the, and we all got spread out in all these different parts. And like most of the ones that came with us got like moved to like the coldest, most snowiest places you've ever seen. And I'm like, man, you get these people from the tropics and you move them into like snow or whatever. And then we got moved into, originally got moved to Hamilton, which is like 2 hours from Auckland, the city that I grew up in. And then we moved to Auckland. We started off from the south to like the west. And at first it was a bit of a struggle because in my family, only my dad and I spoke English. And like my siblings were like all like babies. And my moms didn't speak English too good. But then my dad traveled a lot. So like, I had to like help my moms out, like in translating stuff. So I had to learn what like, I don't know what bills were. I had to learn how to call people and pretend that was my dad. So I had to put on like this big ass voice when I was like 9 years old or whatever. And like I had to learn a lot of things really fast. But then like outside of like just learning everything fast, like I was driving my siblings to school by like 12. And like outside of like learning things fast, I think I struggled a bit with like racism because like I'd be the first to cop it, but I had to cop it in a way that made sure that my siblings didn't cop it. And like it was a weird sort of racism because it wasn't like racism that came from like white people as such, but it was like racism that was passed on from like white people to island communities who now felt it was right for them to pass on to the next person who kind of came through. Because like I grew up in like a predominantly like island community or whatever. But it's crazy because like growing up as the same people that kind of treat you some type of way as the same people that end up showing you love and like bringing you up. So you know, I don't know, like that's, I had my ups and downs coming up, but like I feel like all that is part of a journey that makes you who you are ultimately. And like that's kind of my experience growing up. And I wouldn't take any of it away because I feel like it made me, and it's made me who I am now. And I think it's all important. And it's all being like a learning curve. Being Black, I think for me, at first, because like when we were in Africa and where we traveled, Black wasn't a thing. It was like, you're from Congo, or you're from Rwanda, or you're from Kenya. Like even the word Black, like in some of the languages I know, wasn't affiliated to people or like whatever. And then I came to New Zealand, and it was like the first time I even heard that word. It wasn't positive. It was almost said to me in like a derogatory sort of way, like almost like it's as the lowest thing you could be, almost like a way of like bringing you down, like, man, you know, you're Black, as if like that's like a stain that you gotta get rid of or whatever. So like my first affiliation to it was like, oh man, I don't want to be that thing. So like I go around, or I went around doing everything to prove how not Black I was. And it's like, it's a sad thing to say, but like you grow up in a society that tells you who you are and what your makeup isn't basically human. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not worth anything. And like, if you stay there, you can't hang with us. If you stay there, and like, as a kid, you think it's like something you can get rid of, but then you wake up every day and you're still that same person. And then, I don't know, like, and being like I didn't exactly have role models. I could be like, ask questions to, and it's sort of like figuring it out on my own. And like, this was before like hip hop got cool, so like, rock was on the scene, so like wasn't nowhere I was seeing any reflections of me or whatever. And then I just remember always coming home and like either really being upset and like trying to explain this to my mom, who completely just, that concept of Black or whatever did not hit home for her. She was just so like, what are you, you're African, you're this, and like trying to like grill that in me. But then when you grow up in New Zealand, I no longer had the same attachment to like the motherland that she had. Like, you know, I've suddenly been immersed in this whole other culture. that's like, that's become a part of you, but like you can never really be a part of, because it doesn't accept you really. And it's kind of like it accepts your good, but it doesn't accept all of you. Or it tells you, in order for you to be you, you have to completely shed everything that makes you who you are. And it's like, well, I could pretend that I'm not from where I'm from. I could pretend that I don't wear this. I could pretend that I don't go home and eat this kind of food. But I can't take off my skin. Like, you know what I mean? This is what it is. This is mine. And I think like, as I got older, I started like reading a bit more and seeing people just like earn who they were, and like people that look like me. Like, even though at first it was like on TV and whatever, like occasionally, and it'll be like from like a African-American perspective, which wasn't exactly my experience, but at least it was something. And then I was kind of like, you know what, man? Black doesn't have to be something that is placed on me. I could choose my own version of my blackness, how I want it to be, sort of thing. And like, I could create my own identity for myself. So when you call me black, I'm not gonna see it as something you saying to bring me down. Instead, I'm gonna see it as something of power that I'm bringing to myself. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's how I kind of associate. Because back then it was like, I was you with two things. And it was two things that like, I didn't even really know how to identify with, because technically the way I was taught was in my struggle, you were either black or you were the N-word, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, you know, I don't know how to respond or gauge or deal with that or whatever. I think like it's taken a lot of learning to like get comfortable in my identity.